Alright, ladies and gents, what's up? Welcome to part 2 for this Final Fantasy Tactics AI Battles Edition monster showcase. So, the ghosts on the right hand side are going to be a little bit faster, so we'll introduce them. And yeah, we'll just get right to it. So the first thing I can bring up is that the ghosts, they now have innate transparent, so their physical attacks are always going to hit. So whatever the hit rate is for their base formula for their abilities, that's going to basically always be constant. So Ghost, these are his abilities right here. They all have Throw Spear, Drain Touch, and Allure. Allure is basically the higher hit rate version of Charm, or Steel Heart. It was the skills that assassins use. And then the other, he's got Sleep Touch. That's for the Ghost. The Gust has Finish Touch, a modified version of Cloud's ability. I'll get to that in a moment. From the Limit skill set. And then this guy's got Zombie Touch. So, I should say Allure, it has the same range as it did in the original game, 4. And I made it a 50-50 hit rate. The other thing to point out about Allure specifically is that it only works against humans. It does not work against other monsters. So, let me see if I can prove that for you real quick. So it does not connect with other monsters, but it does hit with humans. In a neutral compat, you have a 50-50 shot at getting it. Not bad odds. And again, with transparent, they have always transparent. They'll never dodge. Sleep Touch, this name implies it gives it away. You'll go to sleep. The skeletons are pretty interesting, but let's just go through the rest of the units. Finish Touch, this one is slightly different than Cloud's version. So it's just like the other touch abilities, you can only hit from one panel. There's a 55% hit rate of inflicting stop or the frog status, not dead. So you have a 55% chance of getting stop or frog. And we'll use this guy as a test dummy. Let's see if we get it to work. Damn. Oh, there we go. Yep. So there's the frog status, and you can also inflict stop. Drain Touch. It'll take about, as you can see there, it takes about 34% of your max life, and that's the difference between Drain Touch and Blood Suck from the vampire. The vampire will take your current HP, whereas this takes a maximum amount of HP. So there's that. I do get a CT save. Now because of that, he gets his turn immediately. So there's that. And there's something else I got to show you too. I'm going to have the monsters target each other. So the ghosts, they have Hamido as well as Projectile Guard. Projectile Guard is basically just a buffed version of Arrow Guard. It blocks crossbow shots, bow shots, and now gunshots. And it scales exclusively off your Brave, but for ranged attacks. So, just see if, just test it. Yep, you see it dodged. And then Zombie Touch is pretty much the exact same thing. Now, there is one thing to note. Because this chemist has re-raise, you can't inflict someone with zombie if they have re-raise. Because if they were to die with the zombie status, and then they have re-raise, they would never wake up. So, that's something to kind of bear in mind. Yeah. So that's pretty much the monsters in a nutshell. Zombie Touch is the same, as well as Sleep Touch. Finish Touch is the other one. As for the skeletons right here, they all have, and I know you saw Masamune, I'll get to that in a moment. Knife Hand to Windsoul. These guys have Thunder Soul, the skeletons right here. Aqua Soul for the water ball, and then Ice Soul for the ice. And they all absorb wind and then the respective elements. So wind status, wind soul I should say, it's got 4 range versus 3. It does less damage though, as evidenced here. The skeletons all have the ability to absorb wind. And then they can use their Thunder Soul, their soul abilities on themselves to heal each other. Yep. So not much really with them, but the main kicker is Masamune. But yeah, let me show you what Masamune does. Well, you know what it does, but it's been nerfed. So It's got an area of effect of 1, and you can only hit one person in front of you, to the side, what have you, and you have to be at the same vertical height tolerance. So basically will inflict, it'll hit the user as well as the target next to them. And you'll see it right here. I'll let it play out. There is a random chance of getting haste or regen. It does not give you both status anymore. So Masamune is a fair bit weaker as a result. But you could stack it like this in theory, and that's something too I didn't know about. The ghosts have access to regen now, or the skeletons do. For some reason, I didn't know in FFT Patcher, but they were immune to it. So that's pretty much it for the undead in a nutshell. I guess I'll bring up one more thing. The last thing I want to bring up is when the dead revive, in the original game, they used to have a 50% chance of reviving or turning into, a treasure box / permanently dying. In this mod, they now have a 66.6% chance of revival. So keep that in mind. Maybe it's worth an investment, or it's worth the investment for you. But yeah, that's pretty much the ghosts and the skellies. Yeah, let's move on to the next set of monsters. I'll see you then. All right, welcome back. So on the right-hand side, we have the birds. Then on the left-hand side are the eyeballs. The birds are the fastest unit in the game, so they're all going to go first. As for the Cockatoris right here, these are their skills: Scratch Up, Feather Bomb, and then Magic Spirit. And then their exclusive ability, at least for this Cockatoris right here, is Beaking. And I'll show you what a Beacon does real quick. I give it some range, 4 panels, and what it does, it's PA reduction. And really high hit rate, and it's now -5 PA. Whereas in the original game, it had 1 range, and it was 2 PA reduction. So now the AI is not going to be intelligent and always spam it on the correct units. Sometimes they'll just use Beaking on a fucking mage. That's completely irrelevant. But if it does hit like someone with 2 hands or a ninja, whatever, it's going to severely cripple their damage output immensely. Feather Bomb is the same with its properties. It does slightly more damage, and that's it. In the original game, it had a stat of MA times 2. So in this case, with 39 MA here, 39 times 2 is 78. I just bumped it up so they do an extra 39 points of damage. So 117. Not too bad. Scratch Up's the same. And Magic Spirit, this is the Beastmaster skill from the trees. It's basically just a MP restoration, but AoE version. It's Chakra without the healing. But yeah, just show you it. Yeah, 5 PA, but against a gunner like this, it's not going to matter. But good to know. Now the Steelhawk is pretty interesting. So in the original game, Shine Lover, I thought I said Shine Liver, goddamn. Shine Lover was basically like the Steel Gill skill, but it was for the monsters. It has been completely reworked, and it's pretty interesting now. So what it does, and the AI loves spamming it, is it adds 100%, it's adjacent, you can see the paneling. It's kind of like Masamune, you can only target one person or yourself. 100% transparent, and the defending status. Yeah, and that's kind of a cool animation right there, that they just kind of like tuck their wings inside. But yeah, gives out 100% defend and 100% 100% transparent. So your next auto attack is guaranteed. Your next attack, your melee attack, is guaranteed to hit. So that's what the Steelhawk does. And as for the Cockatoris, he has not changed at all. It just has beak, and that's pretty much it. And the hit rates are, yeah. There's not much really to say here. He's pretty much the exact same as he was in the original game. But he's got beak, and then Magic Spirit, of course, is just the MP restoration. Yep. Okay. Now for the eyeballs. So the floatable right here has the complete opposite skill of the Cockatoris. The blue colored bird right here. He has Circle. That was the Beastmaster skill for the Plague. What Circle does it reduces your MA by 5 points. It's just the magical version of beaking, reducing it by 5 MA. So this could be, if the AI is smart, they could use this on a caster, and like let's say it's a summoner and then they use this, they can survive. Hopefully, if the AI is intelligent enough. Look of Fright, it's Brave Reduction. The only difference here is that it gives out, it's got AoE to it. Yep. And I know it didn't show it, but it does hit multiple people. It just, the animation is a little bit wonky. So, and there's only a % chance of it connecting too. Bear that in mind. And you can see down here, Heaven's Cloud, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I'll show you the other skills first. For these guys, they have Death Sentence. It's a 6 range. So a ridiculously long range version of Death Sentence. That's all this is, just like the skill from the Mediators. Fortunately, I missed it, but that's okay. And then these guys have Look of Devil, which is kind of like it's kind of like that move Parasite from Biblos, where it's got multiple negative status. But yeah, I'm gonna make my save state here, and then I'll show you Heaven's Cloud. There's one little thing I've added to these guys. Come on, don't dodge it, just once. Ah, there we go. Had to have my little fun. So this version of Heaven's Cloud, actually, well, it's actually using the draw out skill. It's now self-target. It actually hits yourself. It's wind elemental. And the eyeballs all absorb the wind elemental. And with counter magic, as you can see by their description, they can bounce the spells back and forth. So you can get like AoE healing, AoE damage. Let's see if one of these counter magics hit. Yep, not bad. If the third one hit, he would have died, but unfortunately that did not happen. But yeah, that's the birds as well as the eyeballs for you. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what happens here. I think in terms of ingenuity, when it comes to this Steelhawk right here, I think he's best used like if you go second or fourth, like if all of your units have the exact same speed. If your Steelhawk moves after like your fastest units do, he can then cast Shine Lover, hopefully on the faster units. And then let's say this dude moved 5 panels forward, and then he used Shine Lover on them. Now they have the defense status, so their evasion gets doubled, and then they have the transparent status, so their next attack, assuming they're able to dodge, is guaranteed to hit. And that's another status too. Defend is something that AI loves spamming, much like the haste status. It's a nice way to make it so that the AI will actually use abilities that you want them to. And yeah. All right, with that said, I'll see you guys for part 3 of this little monster guide. So, yep, I'll see you in the next part. Take care.